Hello, welcome to this update. Let's see how the disturbance is doing and the rest of the tropics. So let's see. We now have a 60% chance of formation there in the next 7 days. And let's see what they say. A large tropical waves was centered several hundred miles east of the Lesser Antilles and is producing limited shower activity due to dry air nearby. Conditions are forecast to become a little more conducive for development over the warmer waters of the southwestern Atlantic basin, and a tropical depression could form late this week while the system is in the vicinity of the Greater Antilles or the Bahamas. Interested in the Greater Antilles, the Bahamas, and the southeastern US should monitor the progress of this system. So 0% in the next 2 days and 60% in the next 7 days. So this is the latest from the National Hurricane Center. So let's see here what's happening. So that's the disturbance there. So there's very little storm activity because of the dry air and everything, but let's see. We also got a very robust tropical wave going off in the Pacific there, throwing some really nice convection near Panama and some thunderstorms there too. We got some storms near Guatemala and Belize, and we got that other area in the Pacific there. Very looking almost organized. So that has a high chance of development there in the Pacific. And then we have some other tropical waves there in the Eastern Atlantic and some other ones in Africa there. So also lots of shower and storm activity near the Florida there and the Bahamas. And let's see here what might happen with this system. So this is the GFS, the 12Z from today, shows the disturbance there, and it shows it almost forming something near Florida there, and then continuing a little bit, like almost forming something in the Gulf of Mexico, something very weak, and then going into Texas. I think this is very unlikely because most factors take this north there and northeast, but no other models are showing this going west towards Texas. But the GFS is doing some crazy stuff. But especially the 0Z GFS from today was really crazy. So we had the disturbance there, and then it formed a hurricane in the Gulf of Mexico by August 7th, a tropical storm that is. So, and then it continued and got into a hurricane when it reached Texas. So that is a really crazy scenario. I doubt that this is going to happen. Like 100%, this is not happening. The GFS is just crazy. But because all the trends show it going north there near the east coast or near the west coast of Florida, but nothing shows it going west except the GFS, so don't mind that. But let's see the European. So it shows the tropical wave there, some more showers and storms in the northeastern Caribbean, and then it keeps going, and this run is over. So let's see the 0Z. Yes, the wave there, and then it kind of tries to develop into something as it goes into Florida there, but not really makes it, and then gets into the coast again, into the ocean, and then keeps trying to form something there, but kind of fails. So it goes into Florida as something weak, and then goes into the Atlantic again, tries to form something, might be something short-lived, but then it fails. So the European is losing a little bit of hope in a stronger system, but we'll keep tracking it. So let's see the Canadian, it has the wave there, and then it shows it approaching Florida there as only a disturbance, and then it really shows it developing like near the east coast as it gets like caught up with a front too. So then it shows it there very like shows it like disorganized, like it doesn't have a tropical appearance, and then goes into Canada by August 6th there. So it has a very similar track to the Euro, but yeah, let's see the icon. It has the disturbance there, and even if this doesn't develop, there'll be a lot of some heavy downpours in the northeastern Caribbean and Greater Antilles and Turks and Caicos and the Bahamas. So you gotta be careful with that too. And then it keeps going there, and the icon eventually tries to form something close to Florida and the Bahamas, and then it strengthens a little bit as it goes near the east coast there. It potentially gets into a tropical storm there in the Atlantic. So this is the icon. Let's see the Nevgen. It has the disturbance there, kind of lingering, but not forming absolutely nothing. So this is the Nevgen. So it's not very excited about this. But let's see. There's the European AI model that shows the disturbance there. It kind of forming, but this model is still showing like it forming just north of the Bahamas there and going northeast, just like yesterday. But I guess we'll see. Let's see here something else. So let's see some ensembles here from the Canadian, because I'll show the Euro and the GFS on the other side. So let's see. It has the disturbance there, going very near Cuba and the Bahamas, and some ensembles take it to the west of Florida, but most take it to the east there, near the east coast, and then it goes out. And let's see here the GFS ensembles. So let's jump to August 6th. So until August 6th, the GFS is showing like maybe some tropical depression strength near the Bahamas, and it's showing some other ones there, maybe tropical storm strafing that yellow and that green there, just like near Florida and the Bahamas there. So the operational GFS was going to Texas, but the ensemble members are there near Florida and the Bahamas, and there are some more members maybe continuing off and forming something there near the east coast, but there's only a few members, so this is very few, but they are showing potentially something there. And the European model, let's see. So if we jump to the same date, to August 8th, no, to August 7th, I think, so about August 8th or 7th, it shows more members than the GFS. So this is already a lot of confidence, because it's showing a lot of members. So, and many of them get to tropical depression strength just to the north of the Greater Antilles, like near the Turks and Caicos, the Bahamas, and some start showing tropical storm strength in the northern Bahamas as it leaves the Bahamas there. So it's a similar thing to what the operational run showed yesterday, but the run today is kind of weak, goes into Florida as a disturbance or a weak depression. But the ensembles are still showing it could form a tropical depression there near the Bahamas and strengthen into a tropical storm as it leaves the Bahamas. and then go off into the northeast there. But it potentially shows some hurricane strength in those oranges there in the middle too. So some ensembles are getting stronger this, and some formed is just east of the Bahamas, not even passing by the islands. One or two approaches Florida, but very few of them. So this is the European, and if we jump to the end of this run, see similar thing, it keeps going there. Some ensembles even get to red, like hurricane, and then most of them go take the remnants into Atlantic Canada, so Newfoundland, Nova Scotia. Gotta monitor this later, but the Euro has a lot more confidence there on this than the GFS. So let's see some different models. So this is the UK model from this morning, the 0Z. It showed potentially the system going to the west of Florida, like in the Gulf Coast there of Florida, and affecting Florida too. So in the Korean model is showing it more in the Gulf there and a little further away from Florida. But both the Korean and the UK model have showed this potentially in the Gulf of Mexico today. So we will monitor this, but most trends are going into the Atlantic and near the East Coast. But there are some models still showing the Gulf of Mexico there. So we'll keep watching. But let's see what else here. So this is the tropical storm strike probability for this system between Monday the 29th and August 5th. So it shows about 10 to 20% tropical storm strike probability in the Bahamas, 5 to 10% in Florida, and even southeasternmost Florida, like 10 to 20% maybe, but really it's like 5 to 10%. And just to the north of the Bahamas, show like some 20 to 30% chance there of tropical storm. So yeah, let's see this other one here. So this is cyclogenesis, tropical cyclone activity based on cyclogenesis. So like the probability of a cyclone to form. So I put this to tropical storm. So this like the tropical storm probabilities. So by August 3rd, alright, it shows some weak 10 to 20% probabilities there in the Turks and Caicos and the Bahamas. By August 4th, shows some higher probabilities there in the northern Bahamas, and even like that yellow is like 30 to 40% there, so some higher probabilities, and already some 5 to 10% in Florida. So let's see. By August 5th, still shows some higher probabilities there in the Bahamas, about 30 to 40%, and the green about 40 to 50% chance of cyclogenesis, like tropical storm strength. And then it shows by August 6th, still some decent probabilities in the Bahamas, still some 20 to 40%, and in the Atlantic there about 40 to 50% in the green, and in the East Coast about 10 to 30% chance too. And then it keeps going, shows some higher 30 to 5% probabilities on the East Coast, especially North Carolina, and still shows some 40 to 50% in the Atlantic there. And then later keeps going, more probabilities in the East Coast, like 5 to 10% and 5 to 20%. And shows already in Atlantic Canada some 5 to 20% probabilities. And by August 8th, so by August 9th, still shows there that the probabilities as the system leaves by August 10th and August 11th. So yeah, let's see here if I put this intensity to just tropical cyclones. So this would be like tropical depression probabilities. So first one was tropical storm. So this is now generally just tropical cyclone, like a low pressure and a tropical depression. So it shows like, so already by August 2nd, already shows like some 70 to 80% chance of cyclogenesis there in the northeastern Caribbean. that's dark blue, and the light blue shows like 60 to 70%, and the green in parts of the northeastern Caribbean, Hispaniola, shows like 40 to 60% chance in the green, so showing some decent probability still. By August 3rd, still shows some 70 to 80% chance there in the blue, through the Caribbean and Turks and Caicos, especially like northern Hispaniola, so still some 60 to 70% chance in the light blue and dark green there. So let's see, by August 4th, it gets even higher, so some dark blues are like 80 to 90% chance there of cyclone genesis, like tropical depression or something weaker. It shows something stronger too. So it shows like some 80 to 90% chance there over the Bahamas by August 4th, and shows in the less darker blue about 70 to 80%, 60 to 70% in the light blue, and 50 to 60% in the green. So some very decent probabilities of formation in those areas. In Florida already like 40 to 50%, southern Florida. And by August 5th, the probabilities weaken a little bit, and this might have formed already, but we don't know, because some models have it forming like only later as it leaves to the north of the Bahamas, and some formed this in the Gulf of Mexico, so we can know for sure. But it still shows by August 5th some 70 to 80% probabilities there, some 50 to 60%, so still some decent probabilities. But by August 6th still shows some decent probabilities in the ocean there. And the southeast, there is some 50 to 60% in Florida, and shows in the Carolinas some 40 to 50%. And by August 7th, this keeps going up, still some slightly probabilities on the Gulf of Mexico, and shows still some 50 to 60% near North Carolina and in the Atlantic there. And then it keeps going, still some 40 to 50% there on the East Coast, and already in Atlantic Canada some probabilities. By August 9th, more probabilities still linger on the East Coast, but it shows more like 20 to 30% chance in Atlantic Canada. And then by August 10th, still shows some probabilities there, and by August 11th. So, and maybe some slight probabilities near Africa later. So yeah, this is mainly it. But we are still monitoring this, and because it's still showing some very decent probabilities there. So let's see what else here. So let's see some rainfall in the next 3 days, and then we'll check the Eastern Pacific. So it shows already lots of rain there in the next 3 days, 39 millimeters, parts of the Caribbean, 37 millimeters, some 37, Puerto Rico 16, 20 millimeters there, and a little bit some showers in the southern Caribbean too in the next 3 days. It shows some more there. Let's see, in Cuba maybe a storm or two and some showers in Jamaica too, Florida the storms there, in the Bahamas too. And the next 5 days shows a little bit more, so next 3 days, next 5 days shows more showers for the Eastern Caribbean, a teeny bit more for the Northeastern Caribbean, and shows a little bit more in Puerto Rico, about already 30 millimeters there. And then the Dominican Republic is showing more in some areas, 35 millimeters, some 20 millimeters in Haiti, shows more through the Turks and Caicos and Bahamas, and this will depend on the strength too. If this disturbance gets stronger as it passes already before the Turks and Caicos and the Bahamas, there'll be more rain, and if it's like weaker, there'll be less rain. So it depends on how it goes too. So about 40 millimeters in the Bahamas, Turks and Caicos some 39, 42 millimeters too. For other parts of the Bahamas, 30, 36 millimeters, 38 millimeters. And then this in the next 5 days. And next 10 days, take a look at this. So next 5 days, the European has this, and then the next 10 days, it increases a lot there for the northern Bahamas, especially more than 123 millimeters the next 10 days. So this is between the next 5 and 10 days. So by the end of the 5-day period, this like still lingering there and still forming, and then between next 5 and 10 days, like after this forms or something, it shows way more rain there, more than 100 millimeters in many areas of the northern Bahamas and Florida too. So yeah, be aware. We'll keep monitoring this. Let's see, the next 5 days in Central America still shows lots in parts of Panama, still some thunderstorms with some heavy rain affecting the area. More in Costa Rica, so some heavy rains in Costa Rica. It's more than 100 millimeters in the next 5 days, 99 millimeters. And even some areas more than 116 or 120 millimeters. Northeastern Costa Rica shows a lot too, but it's mainly in these foothills that shows a lot there. So be careful, like with strong thunderstorms during the day and heavy rain, flash flooding, and some strong winds associated with the thunderstorms. So be aware. And let's see, Nicaragua in the next 5 days shows around 40-50 millimeters there, and especially southern Nicaragua shows more than 80 millimeters in southern Nicaragua, 70 millimeters in other areas. Shows northwestern Nicaragua 50 millimeters, some areas there 50. Northern Honduras shows more than 40 millimeters. Let's see, in El Salvador some 40 millimeters, but it's showing more for Belize and Guatemala, especially Belize there from those storms, close to 100 millimeters there in southern Belize, and some other areas of Belize 60 millimeters and something, 50 millimeters, 40 millimeters, 30 millimeters, but be aware in southern Belize and northern Guatemala. So some areas there, some 8 millimeters, in other areas in Guatemala, some 80 millimeters there. Along the coast in southern Mexico and Guatemala, a little bit more too. And then southern Mexico, it still shows a lot there for southern Mexico, like 148 millimeters, 123, 125, 113 millimeters. So be aware there Mexico shows more throughout western Mexico from the monsoon. So more storms, mainly during the day and the afternoon in these areas of western Mexico. Some spots with higher totals, so be aware there. And let's see, in the Yucatan some showers, maybe a storm or two, and this is mainly it. So now the Eastern Pacific is really busy, so there are now 2 areas in red there, so and another area in orange. So this area in red is a 90%, so shower and thunderstorm activity are showing signs of organization with an area of low pressure located a few hundred miles off the southern coast of Mexico. However, WISTIS satellite received data suggests that the system does not yet possess a well-defined center. Environmental conditions appear conducive for the further development, and a tropical depression is expected to form the next day or two. So the system might move west-northwest about 10 to 15 miles per hour the next several days, with remaining offshore of southern Mexico. So 90% chance. So let's see, there's this third system at 70% because of that blob of storms coming off of Central America. So it shows an area of low pressure is forecast to form offshore the coast of Central America, southern Mexico later this week. Afterwards, environmental conditions appear conducive for gradual development of the system, and a tropical depression is likely to form by the end of the week or this weekend. So the system's forecast to move westward and west-northwestward 10 to 15 miles per hour the next several days, remaining offshore, so 70% in the next 7 days. Then there's this other one, about 20% the next 2 days and 40% next 7 days. So some additional development of the system is possible, and a tropical depression could form by the end of this week. So then it's forecast to move slowly westward, 10 to 15 miles per hour, no, 5 to 10 miles per hour, remaining over the western portion of, so in the basin there. So yeah, be aware. In the Central Pacific, still nothing there, but that system might try to approach the Central Pacific, but Hawaii is safe for now, don't worry. This might go just south if it forms. So let's see some models here. Here's so Eastern Pacific. What model is this? Here. So let's see. It shows this is the European. It has the first system there, forming there, then getting into like maybe tropical storm strength there, and then there maybe that system tries to form, but not really. And then let's see the 0Z from today. So it had that system there, forming there, and then potentially the other system for forming afterwards, but taking some time to form, like the second system forming by August 6th there, and then getting really stronger, like category 1 hurricane maybe, and then it shows the other system try to form, but it tries there, but not really makes it, and then it shows that system very strong there, and the other one forming back behind it, but no threats to land. Just some more heavy rains there. So let's see. The GFS has that first system forming very quickly and going out there into the ocean, and that second system forming and get much stronger there. And I don't trust this strength because it's too strong, but then it goes out into the ocean there. And let's see. The Canadian has that system forming there, going out into the ocean, and that stronger system forming behind it, going there to the northwest. So yeah, this is mainly it. So let's see the Central Pacific. So as these systems comes, they might go north there, but not affecting Hawaii. It shows one system dissipating there and the other going slightly north. Some remnants could affect it by August 15th or 16th, but it'll be like just a disturbance, very weak, but no threats to land. So let's see here if there's something else, but I think this is it. So if we go to current storms here, so mainly it's there in the Eastern Pacific. So let's see if the Western Pacific has anything important, but I think it's quiet now, except for heavy rains and tropical weather, but nothing to watch there yet. So this is it. So stay safe there, and if you are in those areas, continue monitoring the system there, and we'll keep making updates. Thanks for watching.